Who pulls cat? Have you ever seen such a sweet little Becky girl? Hello, Becky girl. Bit of a serious one. I just want to talk about first aid and some ideas about first aid. Won't be boring. I'm not going through kits. Not too long a video, but I have an important message and a story. And stories are important. First, an unboxing. I got mail from the great state of which I think is in Idaho. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyway, I believe this is from Joe, Idaho. I want to go. Funny because I was just talking online on Will's channel about how I never win goes. Never win Will just in time score. Maybe one day. Anyway, he says, Pulse, I hope you can use these. Thanks for watching. Joe. Yes, Joe, I can, because I already looked at them, right? Because I want to spare you the pain. Something I don't actually have, but I've been considering getting, Write in the Rain notebooks. And Joe sent me two. Bull Terrier. And these are very useful. I'm really impressed with these. I'm very happy. Something I've been wanting to get, haven't got. Now I don't need to get them. It's great. But he also sent me this. A box. It's not a box of marijuana because he's from America. What it is a whistle. I like to have whistles on all of my emergency packs and all of the PFDs, personal flotation devices. See if it works. It works. Cool. Thank you very, very much, Joe. I'm very happy with this. I want to go. I had to reshoot a video because of English Bull Terriers. Anyhow.
So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS. The love you gave me now.
So, first aid. I was on the train and I had to use my skills. That's the story. But the background to the story. So I'm at work at the university on Tuesdays all day, and I normally finish my class at 5, not 5:30, because I think we're all done by that point. Anyway, I hung out in the class till about 6 o'clock, talking to the students one-on-one, helping them with their projects, helping them with the final papers, that sort of thing, giving them value added. And then I went to get the shuttle bus to the train station and just missed it. So I decided to walk. It was good for me, so I walked for about 20 minutes or so with my heavy pack full of papers to the train station. Get to the train station, train's there, it's late, so the guy doesn't open the door, he waits 3 minutes while I'm standing staring at him, and then he leaves. Anyway, that's what you have. That's what you get in socialist paradises. It's whatever. Probably not allowed to open the door after the departure time. Anyway, so I wait for the next train, I get on the GO train, I'm sitting there reading my Asimovs, and the guy opposite me is ticketed. They actually come round infrequently on the GO train service in Ontario, but they do come round. And yep, he hasn't paid his ticket, he doesn't have any money on him, he has to go through the whole thing, and he's asking for a break and all that. And he gets the break. The break is you have to pay $50 or $75 within 30 days or you go to jail, right? And then I'm just sitting there reading my Asimovs, involved in the story, just chilling out, feeling pretty tired. And then I notice that the guard and the security guys are about 2 steps away from me. That's Mr. Bear. Let's change the camera position. So I notice that the security guys and the guard are about 2 seats away from me. And they're talking to, staring at this guy, right? He doesn't seem to be responding to them. So I think, what the heck? So I get up and walk over. And the guy's sitting there not responding, not opening his eyes to them, with his legs crossed. And his muscles are not relaxed. Can't smell anything, can't see anything. I check his pupils. And they're reactive. And he closes his eyes like that after I force it open, which is indicative of somebody's awake, but they don't want to interact with you. So I told them this, and they said, you know, you probably should call an ambulance if he keeps this up for the next minute or two, because you may as well, just to cover yourselves, because who knows, could be something very weird, but I don't think he's in immediate danger. So I go sit down again, right? So then after about 5 minutes, I think, yeah, I'll go and check them again, because they're not doing anything, right? They're literally not doing anything. They're kind of staring at him, looking stressed and calling the ambulance and all that sort of stuff to meet us at the next station. So I go over there and I check him again. But at this point, he's not actually conscious anymore. Like, I'm opening his eyes, the pupils are still reactive, but they're sluggish. So I said to the guard, like, we'll put him down on the floor, put him in the recovery position. So I grab hold of him from the top, the guy grabs his legs, the security guy actually, because they're actually semi-trained for this. And we put him down and loosen his clothing, check his pulse, respiration's fine, vital signs are fine, keep an eye on him, blah, 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 right? So I'm basically sitting there, totally relaxed. So everybody else around is like freaking out, right? And I don't know, it's my job. I've done this for like 30 years. I'm like completely fine. If anything, I'm still tired and kind of somewhat bored with this, knowing I'm going to be even further delayed getting home, but doing my good citizenship bit. So then a doctor wanders by because he'd heard there was a medical emergency, and he's absolutely freaking out as well. Anyway, so we get to the station, the door's open, the train's stopped, we're waiting for the ambulance to come, and the doctor's like, oh. I said, you know, you can go. I said, it's fine. I'm an ICU nurse at Sunnybrook Trauma Centre. You can leave, it's fine. I've got this, it's fine. So he left, and that was cool. So then the ambulance crew came, paramedic crew actually, which was nice. So I told them what I'd seen and what I was observing. But before the paramedic crew came, I thought, you know what? I should act like I'm at work. So I did a sternal rub. Not in favour anymore of these, by the way. And yes, it woke him up, and yes, he was able to tell me his name, but then he was still somewhat unresponsive. So I think it was probably narcotic related, or he was having a serious mental episode. Who knows? He was whisked off from the paramedics and they left. But the nice thing about this was the guard thanked me twice. So I think my calmness and telling people what to do, blah, 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 was actually really a nice thing to do. But this goes to my point. People claim medical's really important in SHTF. It's not. Water, food, shelter, heat, security. Absolutely. Medical's a nice add-on. You can't do first world medicine in SHTF. Not going to happen, guys. Been shot, you put a trauma kit on it, you're going to get septic, you're going to lose a limb, you're probably going to die. Yes, you can put a chest tube into somebody's lung that's collapsed. You might get away with that, but it's a very specific skill. Have you ever put a chest tube through the ribs? Do you know which ribs to use and how to position it? Do you know the signs and symptoms that it's leaking, etc., etc.? So we're going to be very limited. Most people are going to be very limited. Even doctors, like the doctor on the train, he was completely out of his normal environment with no equipment, nobody to give orders to, nothing to do. So he was frightened because it's different, not used to that, right? So I was thinking, so one of the things we have as preppers is a first aid kit. So this is my home kit. One day if I'm really bored, I'll go through it. But it's a basic kit that I actually got, I believe, from Costco. Now the Adventure Medical kits are the kits to buy if you want to buy a kit, right? But over the years, I add stuff to this. So I actually have metal forceps and all of this sort of stuff. Kits like this, good thing to have in the house, got all sorts of stuff in it. And we have two of these. Tackle boxes. Tackle boxes with stuff in it. It's got, you open it up, it's got stuff in. Let's pull out what's this. Oh, a bit of a wipe. Stuff to stop people bleeding to death. Various medications which I won't show because I probably shouldn't have them. Lots of stuff for pain relief, and everybody should have ACE tensor bandages in their kits. You know, nitroglycerin spray in case somebody's having a heart attack. Various meds I shouldn't have, creams, gels, blah blah blah. Stowing stuff. Lots of stuff in here. And I've also got big boxes, tote boxes full of gear, blah blah blah. Well, being kitty nurses, we've got lots of stuff. But it made me think on the train, the one thing that you guys need, and I'm sick of hearing people come up with excuses for this, is yes, there is no point doing CPR in grid down, but it's a fairly accessible and fairly cheap skill to get. And it's a skill you should go out and do. And no, you can't do a lot of things, and most first aid courses, the idea is to safely stabilise the patient until ambulance services arrive, and no, there won't be any ambulance services in Grid Down. But a decent basic first aid kit with St. John's or the Red Cross or whoever is actually going to give you the hands-on experience of putting bandages on, putting triangular bandages on, so you're not causing nerve damage, to actually know how to assign levels of trauma to people and know how the pulses work, how the carotids work, all of that stuff, how to assess pupils. I mean, you won't be as good as me and Kitty unless you've worked for 30 years in trauma ICU. But if you've never done hands-on medical training, if your only exposure for medical training is a tiny little thin book in a medical kit, and maybe a couple of Dr. Bones or Patriot Nurse videos, you're going to be panicking. When your loved one or yourself has had a major or minor trauma that's life-threatening, because a minor trauma could easily be life-threatening in Grid Down, you're going to freak out. I expect you to freak out. I see doctors and nurses freak out all the time. As soon as you're doing something outside of your normal position, it's freaky. Now, for the last 13 years, every code blue cardiac arrest emergency called in the hospital on nights I go to. So I'm used to going to the coffee shop and even outside in the parking lot with people who have hearts stopped or have fainted or are just drunk. Like, I'm used to that. I'm used to working with no equipment outside of my area and my only backup being security guards. So what I'm saying here is we're getting close to January the 1st. Between now and January the 1st, do a New Year's resolution. Go and look at the community centres, first aid, CERT training, wilderness training, whatever you want, whatever you can afford, whatever's accessible, go and do a first aid course. Doesn't matter how many trauma kits you've got, doesn't matter if you practice suturing. A decent course for 4 hours or 8 hours or even longer is going to really help you out, far more than any video ever will. Now, I will be doing a suturing video at some point in the next 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe a couple of weeks, because Lily in the Wild has requested it, because I'm going to send her some suturing material once Canada Post gets sorted out. But that's not enough. You need to actually take a needle and thread and practice how you would actually put the sutures in the wound, so you can, after 7 to 14 days, cut the suture, remove the suture without pulling the dirty outside suture material through the skin. Just saying, get out there and do some training. I'm a little bit worried about people. I think things are getting bad, but I do think in the number of times I've actually had to do emergency first aid and assessment, it's absolutely critical. The assessment part is what gives me the confidence to do the first aid. You're not going to have good assessment skills from online. I've done a few videos in the past about assessing pupils and pain response and stuff like that, but it's better than nothing, but it isn't the same as you being in my room and me showing you how to assess my pupils and your pupils. That will give you, even just doing that 2 or 3 times, will give you a vastly more experienced ability to do it. Now, if you've got the money, you've got the time, you've got the availability, definitely do wilderness medicine skills, wilderness first aid. That's what you really need. Write it down, right? But anything, I've changed my mind. CPR, just a basic CPR course, will give you something. It will give you some ability not to freak out. Anyway, remember, in Grid Down, tomorrow will always be worse than today, unless you're prepared. Toodles.
What's the time?
It's time to get ill.
What's the time?
It's time to get ill.
So what's the time?